Welcome back to this week's Straight Up News. We've got a lot to cover, so let's get started. We'll start with the big headlines. You guys probably know that while I do not give a damn about Disney's High School Musical, I do think that its star, Zac Efron, looks a lot like Light Yagami from Death Note. So imagine my excitement when in a recent interview, Zac Efron was actually asked about the Hollywood remake of Death Note, and he responded rather positively. He says that he loves Death Note and that while it's not on the front burner, he has had a meeting. So this fan movement might actually happen. Crazy. It's not unheard of for American companies to involve themselves in co-productions of Japanese anime. Funimation had a lot of success with their Afro Samurai, which they did with the studio Gonzo. So much so that now they're actually establishing their own original entertainment department, held by Chris Mogeas of the Chris Mogeas Company. God, I hope I got that name right. They'll be working on licensing and adapting their own original slate of anime, which sounds pretty cool, but they haven't given us anything specific yet. Speaking of Funimation, they actually picked up a few new acquisitions at Anime USA over the weekend. Bernie the Mighty Decode, a remake of the classic 80s sci-fi comedy, the fan service fest Sekirei, and former ADV titles Full Metal Panic and Full Metal Panic Fumofu. The latter two were pretty inevitable, since Funimation had already snatched up Full Metal Panic at the second raid. The second Twilight movie came out this week, and no one cared. Mostly because November was chock full of anime and manga vampires, so check out our feature for the full list. On upcoming new titles, Troubled Gambler Kaiji, whose manga got a live-action adaptation starring Death Note's Tatsuya Fujiwara, is now getting a sequel film. The pseudo-incestuous ecchi comedy Kiss X Sis is getting a fourth anime OVA release, as well as, mysteriously enough, a TV series. It should be pretty interesting to see how much they censor in order to sell the uncensored DVDs. Oh, and for those of you who hated the westernized version of the Spice and Wolf novel cover, good news! Some online retailers are going to be able to choose to carry a special slipcover based on the original Japanese cover at no extra cost to you. Let's move on to some gossip! Apparently, Mamoru Hosoda, the renowned director of The Girl Who Leapt Through Time's recent anime film, was asked to direct the Disappearance of Haruhi Suzumiya movie, and then unasked. On the one hand, that would have been really, really cool. On the other hand, it might be easier for them to stay with the Haruhi feel if they stay in-house. So, it'll be interesting to see what happens, and it'll be even more interesting to think about what might have been. We've talked on the site before about the Nintendo DS game Love Plus, which is a visual novel that ends with a girlfriend simulator. Apparently, a fan in Japan actually staged a full-on wedding ceremony with one of the characters from the game. And you guys who marry real women thought you weren't getting enough sex. And that's this week's Straight Up News. Thanks for sticking with it. Tune in next week, and now enjoy your weekly WTF. Lord of the Rings fans, you may want to look away.